Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Hydra, and this is Rust Console Edition. This episode is all about solo duo survival, how to get a good start, things that you're looking for, and the best strategies in order to give yourself the best start. These are the tricks that I use in order to get myself going because I play solo a lot. Um, and when I do play with a group, I usually end up having the best starts out of everybody. I've got the base down, I've got all the components, I've got everything else like that. So um, this is just my tip for you guys. So tip number one is don't play solo or duo. I know that sounds kind of funny to say, but honestly, this game is a nightmare if you're playing as a solo or duo. You can expect to be killed a lot, you can expect to be overpowered a lot, and you can expect your base to be broken into a lot. It's just that simple. This is a group game after all. Um, so we're at majority rules, unfortunately, but that's just the way that this game is. So if you're not, if you're the type of guy that gets mad all the time for being killed, or having your base blown up, or you find the game's really frustrating, then don't play as a solo duo. Join a Facebook group. There's tons of them out there. I'm involved in like 15 of them, and you can easily find yourself some teammates, shop around, get to know people, and there's some pretty cool people there. Just do your best to avoid the toxic little buggers that are out there. Um, but yeah, so that's tip number one. Don't play as a solo. But if you are going to play as a solo, the rest of these tips are as a duo. Then the rest of these tips are for you. So the first main important thing is going to be your map. So your map is going to determine your wipe. Um, if you have all of the monuments are in the middle of the map, then that map is just going to be a shoot fest. It's going to be full of clans. It's going to be full of groups, and you just aren't going to be able to progress. Now, this is just a random map that I picked here. It was the first map on my list, and it actually isn't too bad. This is actually somewhere where I could see myself living. Although my only gripe about this map is I wish that the launch site was up here in the north somewhere. But because it is so far south and most of the stuff is down here, um, up here is a very safe place to live. So having a map with lots of monuments near the water, the edge of the water, is also important because the best way of getting around on these maps and the safest way of getting around on these maps is by far the boats. If you have a boat and you can boat from monument to monument rather than running across the map, you're going to die a lot less. So now that we've picked our map, I like this one right here. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to run to Outpost. And while you're running to Outpost, you're going to be picking up everything that you can only pick up manually. So don't worry about farming barrels. Don't worry about um, any of that. You're only going to be picking up like stone nodes, hemp, that kind of stuff. Because you don't want to sit there and waste time farming barrels with a rock because it takes a lot of time and farming roads is dangerous. You're going to end up getting yourself killed. So the main thing you want to do is on your way to Outpost is you're looking for hemp. You're looking for hemp or you're looking for things that you can recycle down into cloth because you need to get yourself a bag and you need to put your bag outside of Outpost. I would put my bag at J14 right here. So I'm nice and close to the water, but just outside Outpost. Now, once I've gotten into Outpost, I've got my bag down, I've done all of my recycling. I'm going to find a spot in the Outpost and I'm going to kill myself and then random respawn. Um, which, as you can see, I spawned in over here. So I'm going to do the same thing, only this time I am going to hit the barrels and everything like that on the way back to Outpost. Maybe not all the barrels, but I am going to hit a few barrels. I'm going to hit all the tool chests, all the crates, that kind of stuff, all the way back to Outpost, because we're looking to get about 100 scrap. Because what you want to do is you want to be able to buy yourself. Um, where are they here? So you want to be able to buy yourself a metal pickaxe for 50 scrap, and then you're going to want to research it, and then you need enough resources in order to build yourself another pickaxe, because pickaxes are way more important than the actual axe, because especially here at Outpost, as you can see, where is it here? It's one of these vending machines. There we go. We can actually trade wood in for stone in for wood. So as you can see, 150 stone will get us 500 wood. So once we have our metal pickaxe, we're going to run around the outpost and we're going to farm around the outpost, and we're only going to be getting stone nodes. Again, this is all about efficiency and saving time. We don't need the metal nodes right now. They're not going to help us. We have no way of smelting them. So we're only going to pick up the stone nodes, and we're going to farm all the way around outposts until we have about 10k stone. Once we have 10k stone, we're going to come back here and we're going to trade in 2k of that stone for some wood. And then we should be good to go. Now, if you don't have enough metal frags in order to build yourself a metal door, because a metal door is super important, then that's when you're going to want to kill yourself again, and you're going to want to continue to farm the roads and stuff around Outpost until you have enough metal frags to build yourself at least one metal door. And if you're in a group, then you need a metal door and your code lock. It's gonna get a little loud here. Sorry, I got heli coming over me. This is heli, by the way. This one you don't have to worry about so much. Just don't shoot at it, and it shouldn't shoot you. But if you do see the other heli, the attack heli, then a lot of people have a misconception on what it actually shoots for. So if you have the attack heli coming, you can only have 2 pieces of clothing on, and you can't have a single weapon or anything in your hotbar. So if it says that you have to get rid of your lethal item in the outpost, well, then you can't carry that around on you as your when you see that helicopter. So that's just another quick tip there while the heli was going across. But anyway, so you farm the outpost. You have enough scrap now to do your metal pickaxe. You've farmed around the outpost. You have all of your stone. You have your metal. You have your door. You have your TC. You're ready to go. Now you're going to run down here to the water, and you're going to create yourself a little starter boat base. I am going to be making a video on that very, very soon on how to create that starter boat base. And that's what you're going to live out of for the first little while. Now, the next thing you're going to do is, once you have that little your little starter boat base out, is you're going to go do about 40 minutes of boat farming. You're going to go around, you're going to farm a whole bunch of all of the ocean junk piles, and you're going to hope for a diving suit, because all of the all of the sunken ships and stuff give you much better loot, much better resources if you can get them. So, but you're going to spend about 40 minutes to an hour doing your boat farming, and then you're going to come into Outpost, and you're going to recycle everything. The only things you're not going to recycle are springs, SMG bodies, and gears, because especially gears are the most important thing for your garage doors and for your shotgun traps, that kind of stuff. And then you need your springs and your SMG bodies so you can make your Tommies and that kind of stuff when you get your tier 2. So once you've done your hour or so of boat farming, then you're going to farm all around Outpost again, just collecting all of the metal and stone nodes, because at this point you should be able to have a small furnace or 2 in your little starter base. So you're going to be collecting everything from around here. And then once you have enough resources where you can build your starter base, like your actual main base, you're going to grab a boat, and you're going to drive around the coasts until you find an open coast away from all the monuments. So again, I wouldn't worry too much about the mining outposts. Nobody ever really uses them. So anywhere really along this coast would be perfect. You got you got a fishing village over here, which is going to help. But anywhere in here is where I would probably live because it's the farthest way thing away from launch site, and launch site is where all the clans and all the big people live. And the other advantage to living so far away is you're not bringing people back home to your base. So if you're constantly boating everywhere, back and forth to different places, then you're not bringing people back to your house, so nobody knows where you live. So it's kind of important that you don't kill anybody around your house either. If you see somebody, just kind of leave them alone, run away, hope they don't see you, and keep your base nice and hidden. That's really important. The more you can hide your base and the less people that you bring back to it, the better. So, like, for instance, here, if you lived here near Dome and in between launch site, you can already see there's a couple of people living here because they are surrounded. But I guarantee you that these guys are going to be large groups, and you're just going to continuously get wiped out in this area. People are going to constantly follow you home. They know where you live, and then bye-bye base that night. But if you live up here, and then you boat around, and you create a little boat base here, or a little boat base here, or a little boat base here, then even if somebody does follow you back to your boat base, all they know is. They don't actually know where your main base is. So, and then you keep nothing because you want to boat it home at the end. You just make sure that you're safe when you're leaving your boat base. So if somebody does follow you, they'll come and they'll blow up your boat base, and it's not a big loss. You just come back and you rebuild it, and then who gives a shit? So that is definitely the way to do it. So once my main base is fully built all the way up to the top, and it's fully secure, I don't have to worry about anything. Um, Now that I actually have a spot for all of my stuff, now is when I'm going to start doing my monument runs and stuff like that. Because even though I could technically just sit there and farm the ocean for a couple of hours and get myself up to a tier 3 and unlock all of the stuff, people um, they don't actually appreciate just how much scrap that you can get off of the water. They really don't. But you're not going to get any of the good components that you need, right? Like your tier 3 components and stuff like that. You'll only find those in launch site and oil rig, which is way over here on this map. Um, so eventually you will have to start doing and running your monuments. But there's no point in collecting all of that good and awesome stuff if you're living in a tiny little 2 by one. You know what I mean? So build your base, and then your base is basically going to be empty. You're not going to have too many components in it because you're going to be continuously recycling them, and and just recycle everything until you get up to until you have your garage doors and your guns unlocked on your tier 2, and you have a way of actually defending yourself. Road sign kits, that kind of stuff. Then and only then do I actually go and bother doing this kind of stuff, because if somebody does follow me back to my base and blow it all up, well then at least I have, my stuff is safe. And then the last tip is every night before I log out, I basically recycle everything, except for the gun making stuff, because honestly, if it's just going to sit there in your base in the middle of the night and people are just going to raid it anyway, well, you might as well make use of that stuff, go to Outpost, recycle it, and then actually use that scrap to research, rather than just handing it off to the next guy that comes along and takes all of your components. Like the amount of times I've seen people get raided, and they have, a whole box and a half of components and full stacks of pipes and this, that, and the other, is ridiculous. Because, like, if you're not going to use it, um, and you're just going to end up giving it away to somebody else who raids you, then why even bother spending the time to farm it, right? So recycle everything at night just before you log off, and then you're not going to lose much if they raid your base. You're just going to have to build a new base. You still have all of your BPs. You still have whatever you need. So yeah, farm the outpost, build yourself a little boat base, and then build yourself a main base. And then once the main base is built, build yourself little boat bases near the launch site and the other monuments that you're going to want to run, and then go from there. So This is what I do for all of my starts. Most of my bases seem to last a long time. You know, I do get found every now and then. I do get blown up. It's just the nature of Rust. But anybody who ends up blowing up my bases eventually realize that there's nothing in the base to be blown up. And then if I rebuild my base in the exact same spot in the exact same way, well, chances are they're not going to come back because they already know that there's nothing in there for them to steal. So if you're staying on the same server all the time and people keep seeing the same base built all the time, then they're going to know, okay, well, that's that guy's base. There's no point in raiding it because there's nothing good in it. So, let's just move on to the next one. So, and that does work for me. I've talked to people in outposts that know who I am and know where I live, and they're like, yeah, it's just not worth raiding you, man. You got nothing. And sure, they're sitting there making fun of me because I have nothing, but they don't realize that's just because I'm recycling everything at night, so there's nothing left in there for them to steal. And I've always got my sulfur hidden away in a stash somewhere. So even if they do get in, they don't have any of my stuff. So that's my tips for solo duo survival. I really hope this helps you guys. I know it wasn't the most exciting video in the world, but it's full of great information, and so I thought I would make it for you guys today. So yeah, that's the tutorial. Please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It does really help me out. Um, I'm just really doing this for fun. Uh, I do. I don't really care about subscribers or anything like that. I mean, if you do subscribe and if you do watch the videos, then I know it's at least helping people, and that's the main goal for these videos, is just to help you guys out. And then I also have a little fun making them in between as well. So thanks for watching. Again, my name's Mr. Hydra. This is Rust Console Edition, and we'll see you guys next time.